Yo, what is up, guys? My name is Brian here, Brian Bear and whatever. Today is I can't even remember the episode number because I haven't done this series in a while. I'm going to continue on with my YouTube Spigot tutorials, and I'm I have some videos up. Well, I have some pre-recorded videos for my minigame series, but I haven't done the regular series for a while, and I want to get some things out of the way because they're pretty important for the minigame series, and the minigame series is based on my tutorial series here. So the video is going to be on config files. Yay, config files. Everyone loves config files, right? Yeah. No, okay, I hate config files, really though, because I usually use MySQL for storing player datas and storing stuff, but I mean, for all of you beginners, config files are probably the best thing you've got. So let's get started. So to create a config file, it's as easy as making it's really easy, let's just say that. It has the same like format as an array list. Like, you know, you say array list, like let's say we make an array list of strings. We just say string equals new array list, and then it goes on like that. Yeah, it's something like that, but this time it will just be with files. So we're gonna make a private static file, and the file will be called root. Usually with all of your config files, you always want to make a root folder, and file doesn't just mean like a config.yml, it can mean different things, and in this case I'm going to be making a directory. So inside of here we're just gonna say new file. New file, and we're just gonna say the root will equal to, let's see, the first parameter. Well, if you're making, okay, let me get this straight. If you're making a folder, like a root folder, if you're making a folder and you're making a new file, everything will be the same as creating like a config.yml, except you'll only have one argument, or like one value, and the value is going to be where you're going to store this root folder. And this root folder for me is going to be stored inside of my plugins folder, so we're just going to put that in there. Okay, so to make the actual config, same thing, private static. Of course you change like the this to whatever you're using it for. If you're using it for other classes, you can make it public. If you know, private, it doesn't matter. But since I'm going to be just using it in this class, I'm just going to make it private. You know, we're just gonna make it file. Actually, we could just remove the private. It doesn't really matter. We could actually just remove the static as well, I think. There we go. I don't know, I just got used to it. Anyways, we want to make a file, config yml equals new file, bam, into our, root and, config.yml. Okay, so what's happening here is, actually, you know what, we're just gonna get the data folder. So what's happening here is we're going to be creating a new file called config.yml. Well, this is what we're going to be calling it, and it's going to be creating a new file inside of the data folder. The data folder is your server folder, and it's inside of your server folder. It's just going to make something called a file named config.yml. We also need to make a YAML configuration so we can configure our plugin.yml, or sorry, config.yml. So we're just gonna say we're just gonna type in YAML, not YML, YAML configuration equals YAML. Oh no, we have to make the name. So we're just gonna name this config, and we're gonna equals YAML configuration dot load configuration, and we're just gonna load in our config underscore YML. So basically this is just gonna load all of the configurations for this config. That's simple as that. Usually when I'm doing configs, I like to make two methods. These methods will be called public, static. Usually you'll be using these in like other classes, so I make them public, static, void, reload. You can also make a reload config or anything, it doesn't matter. We check if the root exists by doing this. If the root exists, if the root does not exist, oh yeah, I need to make this static. Okay, yeah. So just make this static so we can use it throughout this. What's happening here? I'll make static reference. Okay, I don't think I need this. Oh wait, no, because this is the root folder. Okay, you use get data folder when you don't have a root folder, but I like to use my root folder. I forgot about my root folder. That was my Skype, not yours. Anyways, what we're gonna be doing is, oh yeah, in here. If the root does not exist, that's why we have the exclamation mark there. If the root does not exist, then we're just gonna make a new root. And to make a folder, since the root isn't really a file, it's going to be a folder, we do this. root.mkdir. Don't ask me what mkdir means. I just know it creates a folder, okay? And we're also gonna check if the config underscore YML doesn't exist, then we're just going to say config underscore YML, and we're just going to create a new file like that. And you're going to get an error, but what we have to do is we just have to surround that with a try and catch. Simple as that, right? Cool. Okay, so let's see here. You can also do this with any other like config. Like if I just make another file, like whatever, player YML equals new file root player, because you're going in, if you're making a bigger plugin, you're going to have more YMLs, and you can just do the exact same thing here and just check if your player underscore YML exists. And if it doesn't, just create a new player.yml, and you know the drill. So you can just use it like that. Just remove that. Remove that. Wait, what? What's happening? Okay. Bam. Okay. Awesome. So yeah. So inside of our on enable, we're just gonna reload. So we're checking. Oh, I spelled it wrong here. Reload. Okay. That's why. Okay, so we're checking if these two files, well, we don't need this anymore. If these two files exist inside of our plugin, or inside of our root folder, and if it does, it's just going to create them, and if it doesn't, blah blah blah, that stuff. So you already know what's happening here. The second method that I like to do when creating a config.yml, I like to say public static void save config. And this is pretty self-explanatory. Let me see. Oh, because there's already a save config. Okay, we're just gonna say save, whatever, save. And inside of save, we're going to say, oh, we're just gonna say config dot save. Simple. And we gotta, hey, oh, we're just gonna say, what's up? Oh, yeah, config.save, config underscore YML, and we just have to surround this with a try and catch. And of course, inside here, you can add more configs like our player. What was it? Player name, player. Let's just say you need to save another config. We just do config.save, then your YML file. So player, and it's the same thing, except you just need to create a new, that stuff. So yeah, this is how you create a config, but for all of you people who want to know how to edit the config, the basics really, let me just make an on command here. On command. The basics really is just, let's say you want to, what is this? Is that like a new thing? What? Never seen that before, but it's kind of cool that it actually. Wow. I remember in the old one it just put args, arg1, arg2, arg3, but now it actually put in sender command label args. It actually put that stuff. Wow, that's a huge improvement. Anyways, what was I getting? Oh yeah, how to edit the config. So, oh yeah, you also want to, inside of reload, you just wanna say, oh whoops, not this one. Inside of here, we just want to say config underscore YML does add config.yml dot, let me see if get def, no, okay, it's config dot add defaults, and you can just inside of config dot add defaults, you can simply just how do I say this? You can add you know how in your config, let me just make an example here. Inside of your config, it'll look something like whatever. Let's say we're storing player data, we're just gonna say player name, and then boom boom, and it'll be my name, Brian, right? And then that's what your config will generally look like. And for here, the what is this called? Control space. Your path is just kind of this. This is what your path is, and your value is this, because inside of your path you'll have a value, and that's your value. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that makes sense to you all. And inside of here, we can add a default, and we can just say it depends on what you're storing. Let's just go with the player name thing. We can just do player name, or we can type null, and that will technically just say that when our config.yml is created, then we just, inside of a config.yml, we want to make a path called player name, and it will have nothing in it. But of course you could put things like true, so it could be is is player flying inside of your config, and you just say true, or you could put false and stuff like that. So that's how you add a default thing whenever your config.yml is created. And to actually set stuff inside of your config manually, you can just do let me just make a command called if command.getName. Hey, command.getName. Oh, it's actually command. Okay, that got confused. Okay, command.getName dot equals ignore case. We're just gonna say I don't know, what's the player, you just, okay, add owner, like, let's say you have, like, one of those plot plugins, and you just want to add an owner. You can say, like, if the args.length is, you guys all know how to set args length and stuff, it's less than or equal to 0, then send message, please specify a player name, and else just kinda yeah, we want to make a string for player name equals args 0. So basically we're just saying the player name will kind of represent your whatever you typed in as your first argument or your 0th argument. And we're gonna just say config dot set player name as player name, like that. So what's happening here is if the player types /add owner, if it's just /add owner, it'll just print out this saying please specify a player name. And if the person actually does type in like a 0th argument, then it will just add to the it will set in the config this path, like it will get this path and it will add their 0th argument. I could also do args 0 in here, but it you could just add the 0th argument to the path here. I hope that makes sense. So when the player types /add owner, like /add owner Brian, it will just kind of go into our config and it'll say player name. It will add my name and we'll say Brian. So it will just add my name to the value or to the path player name. I hope that made sense. How long are we getting into here? Okay, 17 minutes. I find that all of my videos are kind of like in the 20-minute range, but I want to like really get this through your head because configs are really important. I'll say that. Like, I don't use them, but they're really important. So I hope that kind of gave you like the idea of using configs. So I hope you guys liked it. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment your queries, questions, or whatever, and I'll get back to you, of course. So I hope to see you guys later. And we forgot to put save in here, and I forgot to also say public void on disable. I forgot to mention that in your on disable, if you want your configs to be saved, just type save, because or you could say config.save, and you can save the file config YML. These are ways that you can kinda, obviously you have to put the try and catch, but these are ways that you can save your config. But because I don't like this try and catch in my undisable, I kind of just made a method called save, and I just saved them there. So yeah, I hope that clears things up for you. I'll see you guys later. Bye.